everyone, and welcome to The Bricked Pit, the podcast you didn't know you didn't need. I am Adam, and this week's episode is brought to you by the scariest day of the year. It's Halloween. You should be listening to this on the day we release it because you are a loyal and valued member of our Bricked Pit family. And that means you're listening on October 31st. And as such, we felt compelled, and mostly we just wanted to have a little fun with it and talk about movies which are based on this day and occur on the day of Halloween. Joining me as always is the vampire from another mother, Josh.
Okay. I don't think days can sponsor things, but
well, neither can numbers or letters, but Sesame Street's been doing it for like 40 some odd, 50 some odd years, man. Come on.
That's communism.
And that other voice you heard was our resident werewolf, Jason.
You did get ChatGPT to write this for you, didn't you?
Actually, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but I guess the gist of it is pretty self-explanatory. But in the previous years, we've done a lot of October-themed movies that are werewolves and vampires and slasher films and psycho movies and zombies and everything else.
Oh, keep listing every exact one of them that we've done.
I think that's it.
Continuing with
Is there more?
Fish monsters.
Fish monsters. Communists. Democrats. Yeah. All the scariest things.
We said vampires.
That's right. The thing that sort of we haven't actually done, I think, is like one that just kind of nails right on the head, sort of the significant movies that take place on the day of. And a lot of these are like the cult favorites for obvious reasons.
Oh, Cold Halloween. Nice pun there.
Yeah. The two that, for example, the two that I'll mention are ones that we watch on Halloween, every Halloween. I say one of our traditions in my family is we set up a TV or I'll do a projector out on the driveway so that as I'm handing out candy, we'll have on movies in the background and kids can, oh my God, it's so cool. Yeah, or whatever. But
I really wish you wouldn't show porn when you did that. That's some bad taste.
It's your movies. I don't understand why you would refer to them that way, but
and they are designed to be shown in a theater, like a civilized society.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Halloween is it kind of waned for a little while, and now it's back with a vengeance as far as like how Americans celebrate it. It's like it's becoming much more entrenched. And film is a very big part of that. And again, watching movies, scary movies on Halloween is a big deal. Watching scary movies that occur on Halloween.
Very meta, right?
The only thing better would be to be murdered while watching a movie on Halloween.
Can you imagine?
About Halloween. That's the way I want to go.
If you're listening to this, that's Josh's dream. And if you need help pulling that off, just write to us,
I'll give you Adam's address.
Because that's where you live. Way to show behind the curtain, Josh.
Hard times, man. Hard times for everybody.
Yeah. To your point, it's like, I think the cultural aspects of this have ebbed and flowed. So like the 80s are really big, like on Halloween movies. Even the ones that we've talked about, a lot of the ones we've talked about previously have either a lead up to Halloween Day, which is kind of a different but similar theme, like Halloween Day is going to be when the really bad thing's going to happen that we're building the tension toward, right? The commercialism, I guess, of Halloween over the last, 10, 15 years now has driven this, like, it's become one of those, like, tentpole days, right, for spending now. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's a huge, it rivals Christmas.
We've lost the traditional meaning of Halloween. It's just become a commercial holiday,
Used to be about sacrifice and worship. Now,
well, I mean, clearly the long-standing tradition of sitting out in the pumpkin field waiting for the great pumpkin is the true meaning of Christmas. I mean, Halloween.
I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, like there was that, and then there was like a group of Disney cartoons that would come on that were always like my favorite. It was the one with the Huey, Dewey, and Louie going trick or treating, and the witch, and then there was the Ichabod Crane play, and that was my jam, and that scared the crap out of me as a kid. I was terrified of the Headless Horseman. I still am, but I'm smart enough to get inside in time now.
Allegedly.
Josh has to be inside before the street lights come on.
That's right. We do our trick-or-treating at 2:30 in the afternoon. To avoid
on October 30th.
Yes. So anyways, before we get into the movie, so some cities I've lived in do the most horrible thing that you can do, and that's
trunk or treat.
Trunk or treats number 2. Number 1 is time shifting trick or treating, because like if October 31st is on a Tuesday, they're like trick or treating will be Friday night. It's like no, father.
No.
Yeah, that's
bull.
That's some bull hockey.
I would look. I'm not a political man, but I'd riot the street over that.
We had our very own January 6th over that one time. we stormed the castle.
I've lived in places where that's been tried, and the consensus was we're not going to agree to that. And all that happened then is you had to have candy on 2 different days because what would
become ungovernable.
Basically, well, like I did live in a community. This has been in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and
late 2000s.
The apartment complex we lived in at the time had put signs up saying no trick or treating on, like you said, like on Tuesday. It'll be the following Friday. But in practice, what happened was all the kids in the complex trick or treated both nights, which was fine with me. I was like, I would do that too if I was a 9-year-old. Like that was.
Anyway, I take a hard stance on time shifting trick or treating. Trunk or treat, I'm okay if you do trunk or treating not on Halloween, because sometimes they'll do that like the Saturday before or something that like okay, go. People dress up their little cars and.
Okay. I only approve of it if they also have a hell house inside the church, so they can show you what'll happen if you participate in the devil's sins, right?
So one time our youth group went to a haunted house. It was supposed to be a haunted house, and then it was if you participate in Halloween, you're going to hell. And we were Methodist, so it was like we left, and we're like, dude, what? Why? And he's like, they told me it was a haunted house, dude. I'm sorry. Like our youth director was like, oh man, that's whoops. It was Dirty Baptist.
That's what I wasn't going to name names, but
we
brought
all
to you
know.
by the Southern Baptist Convention.
We all know. It had great production value, though. It would have been like the Universal Studios Hell Night or something.
So I was also Methodist. Our little town had a huge Baptist church. And that was the first time I ever heard that joke was on the way to their hell house. Our youth director said, hey, you know what the difference between Methodist and Baptist is, right?
Methodist will talk to you in the liquor store.
Yeah, that's the other one. But the other one, he said, you know why Baptists don't like premarital sex? Because they're afraid it'll lead to dancing. That's the other one.
The religious joke that I always remember from my youth directors, and I mean, I was like 12 or 13, so I felt he said,
that's the same age I was.
He said, I'm Mormon. And I was like, you're Mormon? He's like, I'm more man than you.
So, real quick side, I know we've done kids' TV shows or whatever, but you saying that Mormon joke, just real fast. The kids' show Super Y, which is a staple. There's an episode in which the titular character they're trying to save his name is More, as in MORE, man. And there's a lot of like sly things in there because it goes, we got to help the Mormon. And then it does a thing where it's like, you know what you were doing there. Anyway, it always makes me laugh. Sorry,
PBS cartoons, a lot of them were pretty subversive.
Yeah, they got. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a whole episode on that.
Yeah, Author is a subversive television show.
Power to the people. So anyway, that's neither Halloween nor there. Although there is a very good Arthur Halloween episode. So it takes place on Halloween.
Arthur murders the rest of the cast.
Right. I also don't like
Reed.
When people mispronounce Samhain. That's a crawl that gets stuck.
Was that?
Are you sure it's not something that gets stuck in the crawl?
No, it is a crawl that I have that gets stuck in it.
Uh-huh. I want to know your most like disappointing Halloween? Whether it was candy or costume?
Every Halloween is my most disappointing Halloween.
Your most disappointing Halloween so far.
I just want, because I remember like when we were kids, like you would go to Walmart or whatever, and it was like, here's your costume. It's this plastic baggie you put over you, and this mask with the rubber band that's going to cut into the side of your face.
I forget how old, but there's been a handful where, or maybe not a handful, but a couple where it was just sheets of rain and ice cold. And I basically couldn't do anything. I remember being little and very, very angry about that. Just devastated. Getting called in too early or not being allowed to go do stuff. So in our town, they had, I don't know if you guys have ever went someplace where they have like a central downtown block party kind of thing. And so there's always these competing interests where either you go downtown and then that's where you see all your friends because that's where everybody goes, or you just trick or treat your neighborhood. Or what my dad used to do was, and maybe you have a similar experiences, but
go to the rich neighborhood.
We'd go to the rich neighborhood, and he would cruise along in the car while I'd go door to door and get all the like king size candy bars and stuff. And so that's what we typically did. But
we live in a very, like, our house now is a trick or treat destination, which, like, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Until I was like, people are like, you know how much you need to spend on candy this year, right? And I was like, whoa. So yeah, it's expensive. Like, we have tons of people that walk. I'll put on X, like, some of our neighbors have crazy ostentatious displays that they put up like September 1st.
Jeez.
Well, so it's like, it's our, this is our neighborhood.
Right.
Like we cause
you doing full size candy bars?
No. Because I'm not freaking,
come on,
Daddy Warbucks over here.
Go to Costco. It's cheap.
No. So that's not fun. You get the fun size. But there's something, it's interesting, like how you view things as a kid. And I think that's the dragon that a lot of people chase, is that magical thinking. Because I remember, like, when I was a kid, neighbors across the street, they had kind of a portcullis or whatever, like, you know, like the porch extended out.
Yeah.
And they would cover that and make it a little haunted house.
Yeah.
They did the spaghetti brains, and I was terrified of it, but always just like fascinated and like couldn't wait to get over there. But it was, you know, it was like she was a librarian at the elementary school, you know, like it's like it wasn't, but that night it became something terrifying, you know, and exciting, and like,
because the veil between this world and the other has been lifted. Right.
And like when I would be allowed to just trick or treat on my own from a pretty young age in our neighborhood. So it was like you were out of parent sight, you were like free, and it was like dark. There was something alluring about it. But it's kind of, you know, at Christmas too, when you're a kid, like your brain just like flips. And you're stupid. It's
the adrenaline.
Josh, it sounds less like your parents let you trick or treat on your own, other than they're just trying to abandon you in someone else's neighborhood.
They turned off the porch light, told you not to come back home.
That's hurtful.
We do a big deal. Like we set up in the driveway, and I have like hot cider for the parents or beers when I used to live down south, and we decorate like that. Usually we have a whole big thing. And
we had a neighbor a couple of years ago. We were trick-or-treating, and they had Jell-O shots for the adults. Yeah. And I think I've told this story before, but it's like you tell kids, like, oh, don't take candy from strangers. Don't do it. Like all
and then you go take a Jell-O shot.
Right. And it's like I've never seen this person before, and they've made homemade Jell-O shots. I'm like,
yeah.
Take alcohol from strangers.
We'd give cans of beer or cider, and you know, so also because I didn't want like a food poisoning accusation on my hands.
We have pre-measured heroin needles for the adults.
If before your kids are all too old, if you can swing it on one Halloween, do either full size or king size candy bars, because the reaction is worth it. It's just the explosive happiness that kids get when they see the giant candy bar, because especially if you live we live at the end of the block, right? So by the time they get down to us, they've got a sack full of candy, and it's all the same. And then you give them something new. It's like you just handed them the keys to a new car. Like, oh my God, look at this! It's a bad. Oh my God.
Josh has already done the ROI on that, and he determined it's not worth it.
That's true. Happiness of children.
All you do is give full size like bit of honey and Zag nuts and stuff. and Mounds bars.
Yeah, Josh going to turn to the guy who gives an apple.
I want to give Rolos.
I'm going to do this year too. I saw a guy on TikTok who offered either a full-size candy bar or a potato. And he gave away more potatoes than full-size candy bars to the kids. Because the novelty, I guess, of it. They're like, I want a potato. And I don't know if that's real or not, but I am going to buy a 5-pound bag of russets and say, do you want a candy bar or potato? And just to see, just the social experiment of it.
Pitch it through your window.
Well, I think if it was like that was your only choice, like, do you want a potato? Well, okay, that sucks, right?
I got a rock.
Yeah, I got a. That's my favorite line in any show ever. Also, it makes me wonder, like, who's got a bucket of rocks they're handing out to certain kids? Because
no, they had a rock because they knew who was coming.
Who was coming? It was just for Charlie Brown.
Halloween was never really that great for me because my mother raised my brother and I by herself, and she worked 2 jobs, so it was usually my older brother that took me trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
Adam doesn't know this because his family doesn't love him. No. But Josh probably knows the treatment of older siblings, especially when they have to take care of the younger sibling and they don't want to.
Somebody's going to get beat tonight. And if at the end of the night, it ain't been somebody else, it's going to be you.
Because I remember one year my mother actually bought like this face painting kit. I think it was for like a vampire or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so my brother was supposed to do it. And my brother just like, I looked like Eddie Van Halen's guitar. At the end of it, people's like, what are you supposed to be? I don't know. He's the one that did this. But I have to say my most disappointing Halloween, though, is my elementary school would do like a big event. And so you would like trick or treat in the school. But they had a haunted house, too, in one of the rooms. And like the first and second graders couldn't go in it. You had to at least be in 3rd grade to go. And it was like this big thing. And so when I finally got to 3rd grade and was ready to go in it, apparently like some parents had complained the year before that it was too scary. So it was a totally nerfed haunted house. And it was more like, comedy and gags and everything. And it's like, man, 2 years. I've waited 2 years for this. Man. And I get a vampire with asthma. That's what I got. Thanks a lot, guys.
That's rough.
Okay, first movie up. It's Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, 1966.
Dear Great Pumpkin, I'm looking forward to your arrival on Halloween night. I hope you will bring me lots of presents.
They're back. All the Little Peanuts characters in a happy Halloween special that's filled with delightful, heartwarming adventures from their wonderful cartoon world. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
George!
And here's Linus to tell you more about it.
On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with his bag of toys for all the children.
While Linus waits for the Great Pumpkin, ghosts and goblins, witches and owls make the scene, with Charlie Brown and his Peanuts playmates off on a haunting spree that's filled with surprises. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, in color.
As much as Charlie Brown Christmas is to Christmas, this is to me the essence of the Halloween sort of season, I guess. I'm sure you guys did too, but it showed every year. It was broadcast on usually CBS, but it was always on broadcast TV growing up every single year. And it came on early. It came on at least East Coast time, like 5 or 5:30 or 6, something before trick-or-treating. So you got to watch it and then you go trick-or-treating. And that was kind of like my tradition. And Vince Guaraldi's, like the Linus and Lucy song or whatever, it's to me synonymous with the holiday. And it's just such a it's so short, it's like half an hour or whatever. But I always show it every year. I show it, on the big screen and out on the driveway. And people know who Snoopy is, who Charlie Brown is and stuff. But like little kids don't have any idea what that show is. Like they don't get that it's a 1960s Halloween show, which is surprising to me, I guess. It's just lost like something that was so cornerstone in the cultural memory.
Time moves on, man. Get over it.
Yeah, it kills me. It kills me.
What's interesting to me about the Charlie Brown specials is that there is a weird nihilistic undertone to all Charlie Brown. Because it's like, yeah, man, you were waiting for this pumpkin. He ain't coming. He ain't real. Like,
right. Yeah.
But it's almost like it's being really
children
honest.
of the corn, man, because they ain't got no parents around.
It's being honest with children watching. You know, it's not sugarcoating the kids. It's like, no, Lucy ain't ever gonna let which one was the that wouldn't let him kick the.
That's Lucy. Hold the football.
Yeah. Like she's never gonna let him do that.
But maybe this time. Like, so it's always like
there's a balance of relentless optimism versus harsh truth and nihilism.
Which it transfers over into because you remember the whole thing with the aluminum Christmas trees and the Christmas one is it's like the commercialization of Christmas, right. And then Linus gives the story from the Bible, and this is what the true meaning of Christmas is, and yada yada. Same with Halloween. It's like their version of that is it's not a religious overtone so much as it is I mean, we're getting really philosophical about this, but it's like, is Halloween quote unquote real to kids, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what, Linus has this eternal belief that the Great Pumpkin, much like Santa Claus, does these wonderful things as long as you believe hard enough in him. But he has like a minority belief because none of the other kids subscribe to that theory. And so he gets ostracized and made fun of for it. And then in the end, it doesn't show up, right? Sally's all like, told you, you idiot, but
way to ruin it for everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
Johnny Spoiler over here.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's full of bits, like Lucy's witch mask looking the way it looks always cracks me up, and the holes where he's cut too many holes for the eyes for the ghost. I actually won a costume contest with that back when that was a reference people got. It's a very simple costume.
Well, and everywhere they go, they talk about what candy they get, and Charlie Brown gets a rock.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock. Trick or treat! Gee, I got a candy bar. Boy, I got 3 cookies. Hey, I got a package of gum. I got a rock. Trick or treat. I got a popcorn ball. I got a fudge bar. I got a pack of gum. I got a rock.
It's hard to talk about Peanuts and not talk about psychology because it's...
Yeah. You pay Lucy 5 cents, she'll evaluate you, man.
It addresses real things, but the lesson of Charlie Brown is, crap happens, kid. And
you got to remember, so Linus believes in the Great Pumpkin and Charlie Brown, and he compares that to Charlie Brown's fervent belief in Santa Claus. And the throwaway line there is, I guess we just have denominational differences. That's what, which it's just funny that, I guess, the splitting of hairs. So one of the things that's also interesting is that Charles M. Schulz, he played with those themes in the comic strips for forever. Like the ideas of religion and philosophy and what is truth and all those kinds of things. And that's part of why I think the lasting impact of the comics, what was it, 60 years or something that he did those, and they just the endurance of them. It is interesting. Like it is.
Yeah, I mean, the Peanuts are very transcendent, and I put them in the same category as kind of like the Muppets, and that they're kind of like templates or platonic ideals of humanity in a lot of weird ways, and there's that timeless quality to them because they are so true to the nature of growing up or just humanity. Because I mean, like Charlie Brown, you look at him one way when you're a kid, but when you watch Charlie Brown as an adult, you're like, oh man, there's a lot going on here, Mr. Schultz.
They done got me with the deep stuff. I don't even know, man.
As it turns out, I also was served a rock.
The World War I flying ace, Snoopy flying the Sopwith camel.
Mm-hmm.
is another one of those interesting sort of diversions in this,
It's a series of vignettes with the through line being the Halloween and waiting for the Great Pumpkin, but choices that you make, because like Linus and Sally wait in the pumpkin patch all night. She forgoes what she wants to do to be with the person that she loves.
Right.
Like that's,
And then complains about it when it doesn't work out after.
Right. That's life.
That's marriage.
That's exactly how it goes down.
What happened? Did I faint? What did he leave us? Did he leave us any toys? I was robbed. I spent the whole night waiting for the Great Pumpkin when I could have been out for tricks or treats. Halloween is over and I missed it. You blockhead! You kept me up all night waiting for the Great Pumpkin. And all that came was a beagle. I didn't get a chance to go out for tricks or treats. And it was all your fault. Also, what a fool I was. I could have had candy, apples, and gum, and cookies and money and all sorts of things. But no, I had to listen to you, you blockhead. What a fool I was. Trick or treats come only once a year, and I miss it by sitting in a pumpkin patch with a blockhead. You owe me restitution!
It is definitely like the staple. There have been some other films and stuff that have come to take prominence of there, and I think like the Ichabod Crane has fallen to the wayside, but that was up there.
That was a big one,
but Charlie Brown has outlasted that.
In 2020, Apple TV bought the exclusive rights to the Charlie Brown stuff, to the holiday specials. They don't show It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown on network TV anymore. I think that's what's driven it out of the cultural zeitgeist. So
Steve Jobs is the Great Pumpkin.
Anyway, let's talk about something funnier or more horrifying. Josh?
Okay, well, continuing.
No, that's the subject, Josh. More horrifying.
That was the subordinate clause of my sentence.
Am I a clown to you?
Yes.
What kind of clown? A happy clown?
It's kind of the Tim Curry It clown.
Oh yeah,
like Bozo on the outside, but
horrifying, twisted, Lovecraftian horror on the inside.
Yes.
My ex-wife described me as such at our divorce proceedings. That's to throw people off the scent since you tried to dox me before. Now they're like, was he married before? Don't know.
Is that your first ex-wife or your second ex-wife? Is that the one that lives in Spokane?
Is this a character he's playing, or he's gone full Andy Kaufman? Okay, so I want to talk about WNUF Halloween Special.
Don't check your dial, folks. You didn't tune into Transylvania's public access station. No, sir. Tonight is Halloween.
Halloween is Satan's night, the night of the devil.
Reporter Frank Stewart has a special Halloween treat in store for viewers tonight. He'll be leading a group of paranormal experts through the infamous Weber House.
Do you know what happened here in the Weber House?
Some people got killed. Their son went haywire.
Frank Stewart and his team of experts will conduct the first ever live on TV seance.
Evil works in mysterious ways, Frank. It's unpredictable.
Are there any spirits in the house?
It's scary.
That's far out.
That far out.
Something strange going on in this house. Animal mutilation, paranormal disturbances, devil worship. Wait, whoa, hold on. This is not staged. Hello? Is this the work of the devil? Folks, we are going where no camera crew has gone before. Father, perform the exorcism. This is not some Halloween prank. The grisly evidence of the supernatural is real. We'll be right back.
You're watching the WNUF Halloween Special.
This is a film that was made for like $1,500. It was made in
when is
2013.
This? Okay.
when it was originally came out, I believe it was only on VHS.
In 2013. That's interesting.
Yes. Well, because the conceit is WNUF is a local television station, right? And they had their news program has a Halloween special where they do a seance in a haunted house. And things go awry, right? What you're watching is the VHS tape that somebody taped that night.
So it's like found footage type thing is what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, so I think the creator, director follows us on X, but I know I've had some interactions with him. And I don't think that he thinks of it as deeply as I think of it, but I think of this as it's in the same milieu as like Skinamarink. It's going for a feeling and for verisimilitude because it's full of retro commercials. And it's all shot on video, and it's like a perfect recreation of, it was 1984 or whatever, I guess it's 87, and you just hit record on Halloween night, and the commercials repeat themselves.
Tired of all those commercials when all you want to do is rock out? Well, wait no more. With Feel the Steel, Board and Wax brings you all your favorite hits, including
I'll live the night to take, so give me what you got.
Order now off the number on your screen, and every month we'll send you even more of your favorite heavy metal hits.
I feel like this is more of an art piece than a film, if that makes sense. I felt the same way about Skinamarink, but like the verisimilitude of this is amazing, which if you're watching it through that lens, it's good. If you're watching it for like narrative cohesion or just for fun, there's some people that enjoyed it all the way through, but one of the big complaints is that it's tad long. It's like it's a little under an hour and a half, and there's way too many commercials, which if this had been your local television station back then, like there would have been a ton of commercials and they would have repeated themselves. Right. So again, there's the balance of verisimilitude versus entertainment. And I think that they chose verisimilitude over the entertainment. I probably would have gone the other direction. I kept expecting like maybe like these commercials start getting distorted the closer you get to the climax and stuff, and it kind of like bleeds in through the fourth wall.
Right.
So again, it's $1,500. It is well worth a watch. What's funny is like whoever recorded it fast forwards through a bunch of segments and stuff.
Oh, that's
which is hilarious. Jason,
that's a clever technique.
It's very much like when Jason and I went to a con in the 90s, had to have been the 90s. And we bought a copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special. We'd never seen it because it's like, this was like pre-ubiquity of the internet.
Right.
It was legendary, just almost an urban legend. Like, it actually exists.
Yeah. So we bought this copy on VHS, and it was literally somebody had taped. It was the same thing, but real. Like all the commercials were left in and everything.
It was from Boston. I think I remember it. It was from a Boston TV station.
So it was like this time capsule. And eventually we started fast forwarding through the holiday special and just watched the commercials because they were more entertaining. But that's what this is. It's like getting that bootleg copy. And so they have the seance, and then like things go, and the people end up getting murdered and stuff at the end. It's really kind of moves at a glacial pace, but that's not really the point. But it is insanely true to life. It is indistinguishable from the real thing. So on that level, and that's why I say as an art piece, as it's phenomenal. But it was too long, and there were too many commercials. But I would highly recommend it. It's becoming more mainstream now to kind of do these because, Late Night with the Devil is kind of the same conceit. There's lots of, and to me, it's interesting. Like I enjoy like the recreation of old technique. It's like a Vermeer painting or something. Like how did he paint to make this look so real? Before there were cameras and stuff like that, and So it's like that. It's like how did you create this vintage thing that didn't exist. It's like, so I enjoyed it a lot, but I do not like, if you thought Skinamarink was terrible and boring and pointless, probably going to think the same of this. But it's
so I'm reading the article about it. It says a couple of fascinating things here. First is that the crew made multiple copies of the film on several VCRs to degrade the film quality to where it would more closely resemble a bootleg VHS. And to publicize the film, the movie's producers left behind multiple VHS copies in various locations, such as a VHS convention in Pennsylvania, where they left them in bathrooms and on tables.
That's
Their
awesome.
intent was, by doing this, they would start a whisper campaign, which is kind of cool because it bleeds into the, is this real or is it not?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so in like releasing it on VHS and stuff like that, there's a lot of like, it all kind of is performative, like not just the text itself, but all the workings around of it is very.
I can appreciate someone's commitment to the bit.
Yeah,
like it's
Well, and there is a sequel that is like in the 90s. I don't know if it's WNUF still, but I have not seen that yet. This just started streaming on Shudder.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile, and obviously it takes place on Halloween. It's like I kept thinking, like, okay, well, these commercials are going to kind of feed into the narrative, and they didn't, because they were just commercials, right? But it's pretty cool. Like if you played it for somebody, like my wife was kind of in and out while I was watching it, and I think she thought I was just being a weirdo watching.
1980s TV.
Yeah, 1987 tape television.
That's a whole thing. That is a real genre.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I do think that like the found footage type of genre is, I think it's ripe for a comeback now, because I think a lot of the reasons why it didn't work in the 90s has kind of dissipated.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have this culture of people
always
filming
on.
everything all the time, and just old stuff that like I remember that from my childhood, and suddenly it's back on, somebody's uploaded it to the internet,
mm-hmm.
something like that. So yeah, there's more believability to that now than there used to be.
There's now a streaming service that just streams found footage films. My youngest really likes these type films, so we watched. There's 3 Hell House films that are all found footage, and they're really good. And was Late Night with the Devil kind of is, and then Deadstream is really good. It's like, imagine if Ash from Evil Dead was a YouTube streamer. And that's essentially what the film is. Yeah, he's like he had been banned from YouTube or whatever for doing bum fights or something, like something heinous. And so he'd finally gotten back on, and to get viewers, he was going to go into this haunted house. And he sets up cameras all over the house, but he's streaming the whole time. And you see like the live chat where people are like looking at the street. They're like, dude, you need to go in the other room quick. It's really fun film. Like in the found footage genre, there's a subgenre of like Twitch streaming horror.
Yeah.
So you're right, Jason. It's like it's much more accessible now because of the ubiquity of filming on phones.
Because you can start with the conceit of why they have the phone. Like, Blair Witch was like,
yeah, Blair Witch.
Why do you have a camera? Like, why are we here with the camera?
Why are you shooting with 16 millimeter or carrying around this video cassette recorder camera that at the time was, you put it on your shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
It's this big heavy thing, and that was like, why are they recording right now? And now it's like, why aren't people recording right now? Like this, you're eating. You should be recording what you're eating.
Right.
That's how
Come on, cameraman.
Modern
Focus on the action here.
Yeah, everyone literally carries around a camera with them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket when you get older. You better learn these.
But I'm going to be able to film your lecture and upload it to a gazillion people in real time.
You're not going to have AI in your pocket when you're older. That's the same exact argument now. Yes, you
That's
will.
a terrible argument even now, because I've got ChatGPT on my phone. That's
exactly that. Anyway, I'm getting old man ranty here now, but That's the whole point. Is like
I think you're getting anti-old man ranty.
I guess that is true. Yeah. I'm an opposite of that.
Maybe the next generation of old man rant is pro young stuff.
Pro young stuff. Yeah. The future is now, old man. What a confusing thing to say to me. I agree with that statement.
The future is now, young man. Let's go with the times. It's like, what?
PC load letter.
Everything changes and gets different.
Why is this life so confusing? I don't know. I'm just 16 and things are changing too fast.
Why are you recording?
Not to get off on a tangent here, but I don't know if either of you've worked with any like Gen Alpha kids or even Gen Z. But so like millennials as a cohort generally are probably the most technologically savvy because they were analog into digital and kind of learned it as natives. Gen X being like they were adults and they figured it out, so they're really good at it in general as well. But Gen Z and Gen Alpha were like iPads, so they have no like history of like if you download something, where's the download folder, like how to find an icon, what is a file tree, how do I search for things. Like they have none of that knowledge of just basics. So like in the workplace, it's worse than like your like silent generation secretary with these alpha kids because they can't do anything. Like the computer won't come on. He'll have you turned it on. What do you mean turn it on? Like,
there's the old man rant.
There it is. We found it.
Recalibrate.
Just had to poke him and prod him enough for it to come out.
Why are young people in my office?
We had to do Control F5 for a hard refresh on Adam. That's 90% of my job, by the way. Control F5. Oh, God, it works. Yep. Talk to you later.
The Adam update was too buggy. We had to go back to an older version.
They'd replace the batteries in my mouse. That's what.
We've got his backup on tape.
That's a reference nobody's going to get. Anyway, all right. What's next?
All right, so I want to talk about a movie that I think at the time was not quite as respected as it has become over the decades, and that is the 1982 movie Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween, the barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red.
Halloween, the children.
You happen to know anything about this Cochran?
All I can tell you, mister, is watch out. He's watching you, friend, I guarantee you that.
Trick or treat.
Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
Fellas, I was just kidding.
Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment.
Hey!
Where are they taking her?
They're taking her to the factory.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Just what I had in mind for you, little buddy. Why, Cocker? Why? Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me.
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Stop it!
The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. The night no one comes home.
Season of the Witch.
Hell yeah.
Josh and I have referenced this before. We haven't had a discussion. Just so we can bring everyone up to speed, you have Tom Atkins trying to figure something creepy and spooky out, you got yourself a movie.
You got Tom Atkins macking on a girl half his age. You got yourself a movie.
Yeah. That's very, very 80s.
Tom Atkins with a Miller High Life in his hand and being a bad dad. You got yourself a movie.
So this movie comes after Halloween 2.
Which is not good, by the way.
No.
I watched Halloween 2 last night.
And John Carpenter will admit it's not good. Like, the original concept for the Halloween movies was for it to be an anthology.
Mm-hmm.
With each film concentrating on, of course, the main theme of Halloween. And there'd be self-contained stories. But the first one was so popular that the studio was like, hey, we want another Michael Myers movie. Give us another Michael Myers movie. What about that Michael Myers movie? And John Carpenter was like, here, I'll take a weekend. I'll write you a script, but I'm not directing it.
Right. Well, I think he felt like he got screwed over payment-wise on the original Halloween, so he used Halloween 2 to get some cash.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's fine. So I'd never seen Halloween 2, and I just watched it, and I was like, it hit me. I was like, man, the original Halloween and Halloween 3 are like the only good Halloween movies.
I've not seen any of them, including the original.
Oh my God. Psycho all over again.
It is.
So anyway,
would I like it? No, everything you know about me, would I like it?
Halloween 3?
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is
okay.
It's so awesome.
I appreciate the honesty.
I will say it's not a great movie, but it's just there is. And I'm not like this with other things, but for some reason I am with cinema. Is I do think that films can sometimes have almost an ethereal vibe to them that makes them enjoyable on a undescribable level, other than say like a technical level or anything like that. Because this movie, this is a first-time director. Like Joe Dante, I think, had originally been hired. And just like days before production was supposed to start, he bailed to do his segment for the Twilight Zone movie. They got a guy, I think he'd been like an art director on the previous films. It's competently made, but it's not breaking any new ground for most of it.
It's like a really good episode of Twilight Zone.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that's a good sale.
It's how that is.
Okay.
That's the.
I just assumed they were all kind of, because there's a whole bunch of Halloween movies, right?
Right, and they're all Michael Myers except this one. I mean, they're all slashers except for this one.
Okay. So, like the premise. So, I mean, I'm sorry. This is one that I don't even know through. I mean, I know Michael Myers, and I don't know the mythos. Like, I've never seen the first movie, so I don't even know the premise of any of it.
The first movie, it's very much a straightforward slash film, and the great thing about it is that there's nothing that happens in the movie that can't happen in real life.
Mm-hmm. You definitely need to watch.
Is that the one? Is it the one that happens? So it takes place in a camp, or is that the?
No, that's Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Okay.
You just get more and more disappointing the more you speak.
Seriously, watch the original Halloween. It's a masterpiece.
Yes. Yeah. It's the film that launched 1,000 slasher films.
Mm-hmm. You can blame all other slashers pretty much on Halloween. Yeah. So if you don't like
maybe
Halloween,
just like bad slashers. Maybe that's the. I'm trying to. So I've written off the genre, as we've talked in like the last 6 episodes that we've done horror movies. I've written off the genre, basically because for the reasons we've discussed, which is that I just don't want to feel scared when I'm watching movies. I just don't want to be in my feels that way, right? I used to when I was like in college or late high school, loved it because I didn't have any real worries in the world. Like,
right.
But like if I want to be scared and sad, I'll just go look at my checkbook. Like, like I don't need a movie to make me feel that way.
Just watch Halloween. Watch Halloween, then watch Halloween 3. Jason, what's Halloween 3 about?
Well, no, I'll just say I agree with you, Adam. There's that shift in your perception,
right,
as an adult, because like I said, being a kid, like what scares you is the chainsaw wielding maniac chasing you through the woods.
Yeah.
As an adult, your fear is is the utility check going to cash before the paycheck enters the bank account?
Battles with real illnesses.
Right. How long has these leftovers been in the fridge, and are they safe to eat? Like, that's the horrors I face.
Is that guy that's coming up behind me real quick at this red light with the bumper held on by bungee cord? Is he paid up on insurance? Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. Yeah. But Halloween 3 is a departure from the Michael Myers originally how it was, because it was like I said, it was real world slasher film. Halloween 3 is more of kind of a supernatural sci-fi style of a horror film, a thriller, a lot of points. Kind of I think they refer to it as a pod movie, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and stuff like that.
Okay.
It starts off like this man is just kind of like running for his life, and he's being chased by like these two guys in a car. One of them catches him, and it is like choking him out, and the guys... They're like in a scrapyard, a junkyard somewhere, and he pulls a chalk from under a tire of the car, and the car like crushes the guy, and it's like the most uneventful murder ever. But there's a reason for that, as you find out later. The guy winds up in a hospital, and Tom Atkins is like the doctor on call when this dude comes in just spouting crazy stuff. They're trying to kill us and all this kind of thing. In the night, another guy, much like the previous guy searched for him, or actually the other one, shows up, suit and tie and everything, walks in the hospital, kills the man, and then as he's walking out and the nurse discovers the body and Tom Atkins starts chasing after him, he gets in his car, pours gasoline on himself, and sets himself on fire. It starts an investigation into what's going on. He meets the man's daughter. You find out he was proprietor of a small local toy shop. He had first gone to this, or previously gone to this factory that was selling these Halloween masks that are coming out for the holiday. And there's all these commercials and everything that keep playing over and over again with this repetitive music and this glowing, jack-o'-lantern face and everything. And is from the Silver Shamrock Company. He goes to investigate what's going on. And it has a feeling, a lot of times is, we talked about The Stuff, I believe, like last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it has a lot of that kind of same vibe. Not as over the top as The Stuff is. The Stuff is more satirical in its nature than this is. But you have a lot of the same themes. You have like this corporate conspiracy going on, and him like going to this, this town that's pretty much run by this company. You discover like it's a toy manufacturer. All the guys that have been going around doing all the dirty work, killing and all that kind of stuff, they're actually like these automatons, just giant man-sized toys.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And strangely, like, I don't care. It's like you never go like, well,
that's unbelievable.
That's dumb. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That totally works.
They're toy makers. So
exactly.
It's just a big toy.
Which is why it's not a brick pit, because they do a little bit of hand waving. All you got to do is explain it.
Yeah.
I don't. There's something about Halloween 3 where you just buy into it.
Yeah, you're just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the Twilight Zone will have some kind of crazy premises, and you're just kind of like, okay, almost because like it just has that feeling, it's
there's
like,
a whimsical kind of. It's kind of weird to say about a horror movie, but there's this almost kind of whimsical.
Yeah, it's
flow through on everything, just like sure, giant robot automatons.
It's like magical realism or something,
Yeah, because like what are they set the stage for so many things. Like one of the first things you see is like this news report, like somebody stole one of the giant stones from Stonehenge. And then you see it later, like it's in this toy company in the factory. And they're like chipping pieces off of it and like putting it almost like microchips into the masks for its magical powers. So the overall, the conspiracy is that they have these masks. One's a jack-o'-lantern, one's a witch, and the other's a skeleton, a skull. and they're doing this big promotion, selling the masks, going to have this big thing at night after the kids have trick-or-treated for them to get in front of the television and watch this special for a giveaway. And what it actually is going to do is going to send the signal, and it's going to just transform them essentially into these giant conduits for, bugs and scorpions and snakes, all that kind of stuff to explode from their head and create sacrifice and murder and mayhem because that's good for business for some reason.
Mr. Kupfer was right, I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. But there's a better reason. You don't really know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy. It was the start of the year in our old Celtic lands, and we'd be waiting in our houses of wattles and clay. The barriers would be down, you see, between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in to sit by our fires of turf. Halloween. The festival of Samhain. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children. Sacrifices are part of our world, our craft. Witchcraft. To us, it was a way of controlling our environment. It's not so different now. It's time again. In the end, we don't decide these things, The planets do. They're in alignment, and it's time again. The world's going to change tonight, Doctor. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
Because it's a fulfilling of ancient ritual.
It's Samhain. It goes back to the roots of Halloween. Essentially the deal with demons and spirits and all that kind of stuff of the other world. And it also happens to coincide with an alignment of the planets and all that. Total crap and hooey, but it
all makes perfect sense.
Exactly. It all fits together. Yeah. You can just totally steal a giant capstone off of Stonehenge and transport it to America. That totally is
manifest legit. Destiny, baby. That's how it works.
I think one of my favorite bits they do in it is, as part of the whole sponsorship of this giveaway, is that they're having a horror movie marathon. Of course, the movie that they keep promoting it is John Carpenter's Halloween.
That's good stuff. See, I like things like that. That always
it's a great little wink and nod.
Yeah,
I think where this movie really kind of like shines through is like one scene where they're demonstrating what's going to happen, and there's like this guy who shows up with his family because he's like sold more masks than everybody else, and it's like, oh, you're going to give you a factory tour and all that kind of stuff, and they stick him and his wife in a room with the kid and give the kid a mask, and they play the commercials that they're going to play Halloween night. Like the kid just starts like writhing in pain, and he falls down, and like, wasps and, like I said, snakes and scorpions and all that kind of stuff like pile out from his head.
It's pretty gory.
Yeah, it's with no blood or anything, but it's like legit.
It's
frightening.
It's not a quick death.
And they kill a kid.
Yeah,
and it's a kid. Like I said, they go hard when they go. And I think that scene and the fact that they stick the landing.
Mm-hmm.
Because the final scene is Tom Atkins, he discovers what the plan is on that. He escapes, and he actually shows up at like the same gas station that the old man at the beginning winds up in, and the same gas station that, like, poor guy, just crazy white old guys show up talking about they're trying to kill everybody at his gas station every few days. But he's like picking up the phone, trying to call like some kids show up for trick or treating, and the TV's on, and of course the commercial starts playing, and Tom Atkins just calls like, "No, you gotta shut off. Trust me, you gotta shut off. You can't play the commercial."
He's trying to get his kids not to watch, right?
Well, no, yeah. Well, he tries to call his wife first, and she doesn't believe him and hangs up. And so he's actually calling the station, trying to keep them from showing the commercial.
If it goes out, it means the death of millions of people, everyone watching. Don't you understand that? Well, say it's a bomb, then say whatever you want. Say whatever you like, just get it off the air. Please, you just... No, I can't prove it. You've got to believe me. Believe me. Take it off the air now, please. You've got to. It makes sense.
Excuse the interruption. We're having technical problems. Please stand by.
It's time.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Dark masks, gather round your TV set. Put on your masks and watch. All witches, all skeletons, all jack-o'-lanterns.
The third commercial. It's still on, please. Take off the third channel. The third channel. It's still running. Stop it, please. For God's sake, please stop it. There's no more time. You've got to... Please, stop it. Stop it now. Turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
And the kid just turns it over to the third channel because this is 1982. There's only 3 channels.
If you were lucky.
Yeah. And so it's like he's succeeded already. He's just got to get this third one. And he's just like arguing with the guy. But they don't shut it off. And that's like the end of the movie. And I think that is where it succeeds. Josh has said this before, like in horror writing, like great horror gives you hope and then just takes it away.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this movie does perfectly at that end.
So and it's almost a kind of ambiguous end, but the director has said that they definitely didn't stop the commercial. Yeah. And in the novelization ends with Tom Atkins' character hearing the screams of children everywhere. Had this movie been made a couple of years later, they may have, and I think there was talk originally of, instead of having the closing music, to have like while the credits are rolling, kids screaming.
Yeah,
that would have been dope.
Yeah. Yes,
that would have changed. I don't know. You may not be able to find it on video after that.
Not the original. They had to re-edit it for the TV broadcast or whatever.
That would have ruffled some feathers. But that's in my mind. That's the way I like it to end. Yeah, it's great. So he goes through all this stuff, gets right to the end, and fails anyway.
Yeah,
like that's a good horror movie.
Like I said, there's some things that don't do well. I think there's too many. Before that, too many of the, this thing. Oh no, it's coming back to me. Oh, now it's dead again. No, it keeps coming. They kind of play that, I think, too much.
Yeah,
but I think overall, it's a proficiently made movie. It doesn't exceed in a lot of areas, but those 2 areas it does very, very well in. Those 2 scenes, like that finale is just so hardcore.
Yes, in a good way.
Yeah,
and it's, I think, because it sticks the landing so well that like kind of the goofiness over chips from the Stonehenge,
yeah,
like you're like whatever, as whatever gets us to here, I'm okay with in retrospect.
Yeah,
because like while you're watching, I'm like, that's a little stupid, but then afterwards you're like, I don't care. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you salvaged. That's actually a rare feat that the ending is so good that it pulls off.
I think had he succeeded, I probably would have been a Western movie. I mean, it was stupid anyway because of the the stone chips, but the fact that he did, and just like the desperation and just not crossing the finish line, just like I said, the ending sticks so well that you can easily forgive like those guys were robots the whole time.
You ever sit and watch a new movie, a new to you movie, and you're like, if they ended it right here, this would be perfect. Like I often do that when I'm
I record podcasts like that.
Yeah, that's true. Knowing when to wrap it up, right? There's this, especially when it's a formulaic film.
Mm-hmm.
If it does something novel, and then it's like the movie's been long enough, and they do like a weird, unique twist at the end, and I'm like, stop! Don't film another minute. Just stop. And then they go and do like another 10 minutes on top of it. And you're like, buddy. You just wasted it.
I think a lot of more modern films feel the need to
explain everything.
Yes.
Right. Like you get to the climax and resolution, and then it fades to black, and then they're like the next day, like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. It's like, well, we figured all that was going to happen, or essentially, it doesn't matter. Like, what happens to these people now? I couldn't give a rip about.
Right. Yes.
Like I don't care if they get hit by a bus tomorrow. Like, the exciting thing happened.
Like, that would be a good ending.
It is
right?
over.
It's like a meet cute, and then as they're walking into the sunset, it's just like a bus just careens into them. Like, perfect movie, 10 out of 10. There's the twist I wasn't expecting. You know,
that's that Nicolas Cage Angel movie.
That's the Angel movie.
I've never laughed harder in a film ever. That dude, like, he was the one where he becomes human. It's like it's based on like a French film or something. And then Meg Ryan gets like hit by a bus, like in the next scene. That and Joe Black getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
like, come on, y'all know that's funny, right? Why are you playing this like it's not?
It's not. Yeah,
that's he just got Buster Keaton hit by like 3 cars.
That's like a Super Bowl.
Long established funny bit, right? Well,
I'm the jerk for laughing in the theater at this.
in Mean Girls, whenever she gets hit by the school bus, that's a laugh moment, right? That's. I laughed. Other people gasped, but I was like, So yeah, you got to pick your audience, I guess. That's the.
This movie, though, Halloween 3 didn't do very well, and kind of got the Halloween franchise back on Michael Myers. But over the decades, it's got a cult following, and you see a lot of references and other things to those 3 masks specifically. The jack-o'-lantern, the witch, and the skull.
Oh, and the costume design, like those, they're amazing looking.
Yeah.
I think they actually make those masks now that look like the mask in the movie, not just like some cheap facsimile. And they've even got the silver shamrock branding on them.
And I think, like, really the only good thing Rob Zombie did in his Halloween movie is he actually referenced that. He made a callback to those 3 masks. We don't need to sympathize with Michael Myers. We don't need to. That's why he's scary. He was just an 8-year-old kid, normal 8-year-old that started murdering people. He wasn't a weirdo to begin with. Donald
Pleasance exasperatingly told you that there was nothing behind his eyes. God, Donald Pleasance is so great at how he's just like. He has become evil.
Well, that's a great bit. I spent 8 years trying to cure him, and now I've spent the last 4 trying to keep him in jail.
Yeah.
But I think another reason this works so well is Tom Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he's one of the guys. He's not like your average leading man guy. Like, he wasn't going to do big blockbuster movies, but for stuff like this, like, he's always perfect in these smaller horror films. And it's kind of like, it's weird because, again, he's clearly a bad father. He was clearly a bad husband. Yeah, it's not directly stated, but it is hinted at heavily that he's a lecherous nature.
We can only assume he's not that great of a doctor, because, I mean, he just up and leaves.
Once again, it's important for people like Josh to see representation in film.
He's got more than one malpractice suit.
Who doesn't, though, really?
He's drunk all the time. He's really like not a great dude, but he's like, they shouldn't kill all those kids.
That's where I draw the line.
He sprang into action. I better not kill those kids.
Yeah, because like you see his kids only at the beginning of the movie, like when he shows up at his wife's house to like give them mask that he bought them for Halloween. And of course, they're like, "No, Mom got us the good mask, the silver shamrock mask." And then you never see him again. All you see him is like on the phone talking to his wife, like, "Yeah, I'll pick him up Saturday. Then Saturday, I'll take him trick or treating." Yeah, like, just constantly making excuses, not being there.
That hit home.
Yeah. No, the check's coming, honey. It's just coming.
Tom Atkins, in every movie he's in, he drinks beer, has it off with younger women than him. It's like, the older I get, the more I'm like, that dude's
He's completely exasperated by everything going on around him.
Either doesn't care what's happening or ineffectual when it
or just tired of it constantly happening.
Another ghost pirate, huh? How many guys with salt water in their lungs we gonna find tonight? It's from The Fog, Adam. Tom Atkins is in The Fog.
I'm not sure you would enjoy this, Adam, but I think people who enjoy horror movies,
good things,
yeah, people who love like the absurdity that horror movies can get into, I think would enjoy this.
I think, given the caveats that we've given it, you could enjoy it. Like I said, there may be a little bit of inappropriate stuff with Tom Atkins lecturizing, but other than that, your oldest could watch it easily, unless she's squeamish, because some of the scenes are like, holy crap. They sure are murdering that kid pretty good.
They murder-weighted that guy. That's
he blowed up real good.
They murdered him with the TV.
See, that's like psychology. What it's saying is TV will rot your mind and make mind spiders come out of it. Garbage in, garbage out.
Well, on that high note, I would like to thank everyone for listening, and hope you have a happy Halloween if you're listening to this tonight while you're sitting out in the yard scaring all the children in the neighborhood with our voices.
Go to Adam's house and get those full-size candy bars.
Come on down. We'd be happy to have you.
His address is 123 Easy Street.
Thank you. Now I got to change houses again.
Not move. He just has to change the house.
I gotta pay the city to change the name of my street again. That's If you'd like to reach out to us, and we're always glad when you do, please do so at brickpit@gmail.com, or you can find us by going to linktree/brickpit, and you'll find links to all of our social media. As always, we are grateful for you all and your wonderful ideas and continued support. And until next time, happy Halloween.
I got a rock.